The gymnasium smelled like popcorn and sweat. It was a Friday night in Southfield High, and the annual community talent show was about to begin. The bleachers were packed. Students, teachers, parents, neighbors, all buzzing with anticipation. Kids in sequin vests adjusted microphones. A local dance troupe rehearsed off stage. Everything about the night screamed small-town tradition. Then he walked in. No one saw him at first. He came in through the back door, quietly with his head down. Torn boots, a long army green coat that swallowed him, and a beard that looked like it hadn't met scissors in years. Some folks shifted uncomfortably. Others just stared. "Who let him in?" someone whispered. The man didn't make eye contact. He walked to the sign-up table with a paper in his hand. The volunteer sitting there, a junior named Ellie, froze when she saw him. I want to sing," the man said. Ellie blinked. "You wanted to be in the show?" He nodded. She glanced at the list, already full. 12 performers, all local, all familiar. Then she looked back at him. "What's your name, sir?" He hesitated, then softly, James Holloway." Ellie didn't know why, but something in his eyes stopped her from saying no. She scribbled his name at the bottom of the list. "Okay, you're number 13. James gave a slow nod and shuffled toward the far corner of the gym. He sat alone, away from the crowd. Backstage, the buzz continued. Kids took selfies. Parents passed around camcorders. A kid with a ukulele was practicing the same chord over and over. Ellie approached the stage manager. "We've got a late addition," she said. "Who?" She pointed toward the corner. The stage manager frowned. "We don't have time for—" But then the principal walked over. He looked and paused. "I know that man," he said quietly. "That's Sergeant Holloway. Served 2 tours, used to teach at the vet center." The others blinked. "What's he doing here?" "I think," the principal said, "he's trying to come back." The show began, the first act, a little girl singing Let It Go off-key, but with full confidence. The crowd laughed and clapped. Next, a boy doing magic tricks, then a hip-hop dancer, a family band. It was fun, light, safe, and then it was time for number 13. "Last performance of the night," Ellie announced, trying to sound cheerful. "Please welcome James Holloway." The gym fell silent. All eyes turned toward the corner. James stood slowly, walked to the stage. His boots echoed on the wooden floor. He looked out at the crowd. Most avoided eye contact. He adjusted the mic, cleared his throat, and said 5 words that made everyone lean forward. "I used to have a voice." For a full 5 seconds, no one said a word. Then slowly, James adjusted the mic again. The gym's PA system squealed slightly. He didn't flinch. And then he began to sing. No music, no backing track, just his voice. It wasn't polished. It wasn't perfect. It was cracked like wood left out in the rain too long. But it was deep, powerful, raw, and filled with something no one in that gym expected. Pain. Real pain. The kind you don't fake. The song, Hallelujah. The Leonard Cohen version, haunting and holy. Each note hung in the air like smoke, curling through the rafters, settling in people's lungs. By the second verse, no one was looking at their phones anymore. By the third, the room was silent. The kind of silence that feels sacred. A little boy in the front row whispered to his mom, "Why does it sound like he's crying and singing at the same time?" Because he was. James closed his eyes as he sang, and the words didn't just come from his throat. They came from his bones. "I've seen your flag on the Marble Arch. Love is not a victory march." It wasn't just a performance. It was a confession, a story, a prayer. What the crowd didn't know, what no one could have known, was that James had been a singer once, before the army, before the deployments, before the IED that took 2 of his squad mates and left him with a TBI and night terrors. He used to sing at weddings, in bars. He was even scouted once, before life pulled him another direction. After he came home, he tried to teach music therapy at the vet center, tried to make peace with what he saw, tried to use music as a bridge. But trauma is a thief, and when his wife died in a car accident 6 years ago, the bridge collapsed. He stopped singing, stopped showing up. Stop trying. Until tonight. As he hit the final verse, James's voice cracked entirely. But he didn't stop. He let it break, let it echo, let it sit. And when the final word left his lips, he stood still, not bowing, not smiling, just breathing. And the gym exploded, not with noise, with emotion. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. Teachers cried, students cried, even the principal wiped his face. James turned to leave the stage quietly, but the crowd stood. Applause thundered around him. Not polite applause, not talent show applause, gratitude. Backstage, Ellie met him with tears streaming down her face. "You just changed something?" she whispered. James looked at her, confused. She smiled through the tears. "You gave us a voice too." The next day, the phone at Southfield High rang off the hook. Parents, reporters, veterans, musicians, even a producer from a local TV station called asking for footage. Everyone wanted to know more about the man who sang like he'd lived 100 lives. Principal Watkins, stunned by the response, called an emergency staff meeting. "He didn't just sing, Bob," he said, holding up a printed email. "He woke people up." Ellie, the student volunteer, had already uploaded a clip of his performance to YouTube. By Sunday morning, it had over 200,000 views. By Monday, it was on national news. James didn't know any of this. He was sleeping behind the old church near the edge of town, wrapped in the same green coat, with a half-eaten granola bar in his pocket. He wasn't avoiding the attention. He just didn't believe it. Until Ellie found him, she showed up with a thermos of coffee and a stack of printed messages. "People want to talk to you," she said, handing them over. James squinted. "Who?" "Music schools, radio stations, a nonprofit that helps veterans find housing, and this." She handed him a card. It said, "James Holloway, would you be willing to teach music again?" Southfield Community Center. James looked at it like it might disappear. "I haven't taught in years." Ellie smiled. "Maybe that's why they need you." The next week, he stepped into the community center classroom. 12 folding chairs, an old upright piano, a pile of ukuleles missing strings, and kids. Some were shy, some were loud. One girl sat with her arms crossed, daring him to be interesting. James didn't give a speech. He walked to the piano, sat down, and played the first 3 notes of "Lean on Me." The room got quiet. One boy leaned forward, another tapped his fingers. By the end of the class, they were singing, not well, not in tune, but with heart. And James, he was smiling. That night, James didn't sleep on a bench. He slept in a spare room at the vet center. Clean sheets, a real pillow, and a note taped to the door. "You matter. Welcome back." The video eventually hit 2 million views. Then 5. People from all over the country donated money to the center. Others sent instruments. A national charity awarded James a teaching grant. But he didn't care about the viral moment. He cared about the kid who stayed after class to ask, "Can music make nightmares stop?" And the girl who whispered, "I want to sing like you, like I mean it." That's what kept him coming back. He never told them everything. About the war, about the voices in his head, about the nights he didn't want to wake up. But they knew, because sometimes the most broken voices are the ones that make us feel whole. A year passed. James Holloway was no longer a shadow in the corner. He was Mr. Holloway now. Music instructor, mentor, local legend. He taught 3 nights a week at the community center and volunteered at the local VA on weekends. But every once in a while, he still sang. Never for cameras, never for likes, only when it mattered. The Southfield talent show rolled around again. This time, the gymnasium was even more packed. Cameras, local press, families with signs, a buzz of excitement. James didn't sign up to perform. He was just there to support his students. But midway through the show, Ellie, now in her senior year, took the stage. She held the mic with both hands, heart pounding. "This next performance," she said, "is dedicated to someone who reminded us all that the hardest voices to hear are often the ones we need most." She turned to the side. "Mr. Holloway, would you join me?" The room erupted in cheers. James stood slowly. Kids chanted his name. And for the first time in a long time, he smiled. Not the small, sad smile he used to wear like a shield, a real one. He walked to the stage and took the mic. No introduction, just music. He and Ellie sang Bridge Over Troubled Water. She sang melody, he sang harmony. And the gym again held its breath. Their voices were different, not perfect, but powerful. The kind of sound that doesn't just echo in a room, it echoes in hearts. Halfway through, he let her finish the verse alone and just stood there, watching, listening, proud. After the show, a young boy approached him. "Mr. Holloway?" James turned. "Do you think I can sing, even if I am scared?" James knelt to the boy's height, looked him in the eyes. "You don't sing because you are fearless," he said softly. "You sing so your fear has somewhere to go." The boy smiled, and that was enough. The world kept spinning, the views kept climbing. But James Holloway, he didn't care because he found something that mattered more than applause. He found purpose, he found peace, he found home. Sometimes a song is just a song, but sometimes a song is a survival story, a second chance, a bridge back to the world. And the voice singing it might be broken, might be tired, might be scared. But when it finally speaks, it can move mountains. So if you've been quiet for too long, maybe it's time. Take the mic. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be real. Subscribe to our channel and drop like.